All right, happy to have you along, my fellow tech enthusiasts. I'm Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison with me. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. This broadcast is brought to you in part by networkprovidersinc.com. When you want to partner in IT, Network Providers has a free consult. You can find out what your needs are, what the recommendations are, and then, hey, decide to pull the trigger. One of the cool things about Network Providers is they don't want to get you into long contracts. They monthly work for you. And if you like what they do, you continue the next month. If you don't, you can find somebody else. But we're convinced that we'll earn your business. This is NPI Tech Guys. NPITechGuys.com is where the podcast is, where all kinds of great news is with regards to tech and a whole lot more. Jay, welcome back, sir.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
I'm a little disappointed if I work for Amazon, I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. AI could be taken over, huh?
Unfortunately, I guess they say what? They're going to avoid hiring 600,000 workers. Robots will work alongside current employees rather than replacing them. What is this, a big meltdown in terms of, 600,000 people. I don't know how much of it's layoffs versus how much of it's going to be not hiring people. But by 2033, they say they're going to have 600,000 positions, or new positions, I should say, that would be in this category, Jay.
Yeah, and instead of they're not really going to lay off a bunch of people necessarily and replace them with AI. It's just they're thinking, hey, our new hires are going to be AI related, and so you may see a decline in hiring or expansion in workforce at Amazon as they move into more and more AI. Maybe that's robots, maybe that's just algorithms. We'll see, but there's a lot to it, and they say, hey, 600,000 positions will be replaced with AI over the next couple of years.
Yeah, they say by 2033. So what's that, in 8 years, Jay?
Right.
They're aiming to automate up to 75% of their, quote, operational processes.
That is amazing.
The New York Times claims that the move could save Amazon up to $12.6 billion. The company expects, by the way, to cut 160,000 jobs by 2027, particularly in their warehousing and their logistics divisions. And Amazon already utilizes over 1 million robots. And they say that they partner these 1 million robots with 1.6 million human employees. The report also mentions Amazon's strategic communication shift. And so they're using all kinds of different terms to try to decrease the backlash that's going to come from this. Amazon's still actively hiring, they say. They say because of Christmas, they're going to still bring in people. And all I'm telling you, though, is long-term, you ain't seen nothing yet when it comes to how much AI will devastate the workforce, Jay. And they say there's going to be new workers in different areas. I believe there will, but I believe that transition will be rough on people. Because not only do you have to deal with the changes, but people aren't ready for those different kind of jobs. You work at Amazon and then you get laid off and now you need a new AI person to do something. That might be a different person gets a job. It might be that we have to import people because we're not trained enough on AI. And it might be that, when you replace 600,000 with robots, then you kind of come back and say, okay, well, what percent really is going to be new jobs due to the changes? And, it's a rough thing we're going to be facing, Jay.
That's true indeed. And on the heels of this, Facebook came out and said, Meta, that it's 1,000 times less, but they said they're going to lay off roughly 600 employees within their artificial intelligence unit to reduce management layers and operate more efficiently, with notifications going out today and as we're speaking. So they're also trimming down their AI divisions. Probably also, no word that they're actually replacing it with AI, but I'm sure there's some of that going on too. And they're cutting the fat.
Well, and so a lot of times people are like, oh, don't worry, these mechanical jobs, the industrial revolution jobs are going away, but they'll all be replaced by high-tech jobs. Not when you see this piece from Meta.
That's a lot of high-tech jobs, not that won't be here next year and years to come.
And I think we're just getting started on the announcements that you're going to see. So the question is, how can America retool? How can America maintain some leadership in some of this? That's really the ultimate question we'll have to keep an eye on. Well, it's only a matter of time, Jay.
That's right. A matter of time. We talked about this before, and our military robots. You think Terminator, you think iRobot, in these kind of scenarios. But a foundation in San Francisco, a startup, has openly defied Silicon Valley's sort of ethical norms by developing the first humanoid robot. It's explicitly designed for warfare. It's 5'9" tall, 175 pounds, can carry 45 pounds. It's called the Phantom MK1, and is expected to be weaponized for battlefield deployment. Their founder has said that these robots are going to be bullet sponges instead of soldiers, and positioning them as autonomous ground drones capable of high-risk missions. And he said this is the future of warfare. And so we're going to see military robots on the ground coming soon to a theater near you.
I'm not
War
comfortable
theater,
with
that
this,
is.
Jay.
Yeah? Why not? I mean,
Are
some
you?
people would make the case that, hey, better to have bots on the ground, even if they're being like drones remotely piloted, or AI or whatever, that they're out there and not people's lives getting hit. What do you say?
My response to that is I wish that were true, but I don't think that they'll be satisfied with just a bunch of robots with great expense per robot, just fighting and destroying each other or whatever else. At some point, people want to make it personal or real. The foundation, they say, has already moved beyond prototypes. You got big bucks with Navy and all these other things. They say the company plans to produce 10,000 units by next year. That's startling to me. I don't think we're going to do well promoting more and more warfare. I want to see more technology used for peaceful purposes, Jay. That's just my opinion.
It certainly conjures up in the mind the idea that you see these giant drone ships coming in, like in Star Wars, where they're just offloading hundreds of thousands of bots for a military takeover or whatever. It's pretty astounding.
We'll keep an eye on the ball. I don't think these robots are going to be near as robust as they want you to believe, though.
It doesn't matter, though. Even if they're, again, going back to the Star Wars thing, even if they're kind of bumbling and not great, just imagine the sheer numbers that you could throw at something or somebody or another country in robots compared to manpower, where you've got to have all the other long lines of logistics feeding everybody and all the other things that go into the human creature comforts. That, man, you could just throw these guys into the meat grinder kind of.
Yeah, but if the other side just does the same thing, I mean, what's it just, we just sit back and watch the meat grinder of the robots, and then we just build more and watch the meat grinder and build more?
Yeah, man, that'll replace the NFL.
Or do we event? I'm gambling on, no, I'm not. I'm not
right?
gambling on anything. All I can say is it's interesting to me, though, that, at some point in a war, your goal is to gain ground or control people or something. So at some point, it's going to have a human element to it, or else it means nothing. I mean, me having 1,000 robots, Jay having 1,000 robots, till we have attrition to where then we have to bring out 1,000 more and 1,000 more. Unless you gain ground or control people or do something, it doesn't make a difference, right? So at the end of the day, there's got to be human control or human forced acquiescence at the end of it or something, or else what's the war for, right?
Well, when we've seen this in Ukraine and Russia, it's been one of the most bot-fought wars we've ever seen so far, with drones and taking out airports and just enormous amounts of drones and bots being thrown into that war too.
All right, Jay, are you going to embrace this new browser, buddy?
The new browser, is that OpenAI's new browser, the ChatGPT Atlas?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a ChatGPT. I even have a paid version, one of their smaller consumer ones. I use it a lot. I definitely use it more than I used to use Chrome, or Google or Wikipedia or something. I use a lot of GPT searches nowadays. I mean, and I think a lot of people do. But they're coming out with a new AI-powered web browser on their own, again, in more of a competition toward Google. It's going to allow users to converse with it within web pages, and they're going to turn up the heat, and I guess they're going for Chrome even more so now.
Is it Chromium-based, though?
I don't know the answer to that.
The reason I ask that is because I know that Edge is really trying to build Copilot into Edge directly, too. And so, really browsers are gaining AI is the point of this. And whether you use the new browser put together by OpenAI, what do they call this thing? ChatGPT?
Atlas.
It's
only available right now on Apple's iOS system.
And it's coming to Windows soon, they say, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, to me, it's vaporware until it comes to Windows, Jay.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I understand, and they got to start somewhere.
Well, it's limited
interesting, though,
where
that
anyway, right?
It's interesting, though, that they start with Apple, which tells me that it's not likely Chromium-based. It's likely
Safari-based, probably.
Safari-based. That's my fear. I don't know about that. Safari seems to be quite behind compared to browsers, Jay. All right. Anyway, there you have it. We thought we'd keep your eye on it. I think Brave is one of the best browsers out there, though, Jay.
Right. I like Brave a lot, especially for iOS. It's what I run on my iPhone.
When it comes to security, it's a fully rich browser. It's thinner than most. I mean, it's very good. All right, let's take a quick pause. You're watching and listening to TechWatch Radio, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Bushman. Jay Harrison with me. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. We also say make sure tech serves you, does not own you. Back in seconds on TechWatch TV, huh? Back with you live, TechWatch Radio, TechWatch TV, Sam J, Network Providers Inc.com. Hey, when you want somebody to help you with your IT, they've got your back, people. So Wikipedia, is that what this thing is? They're still around, Jay? That's like
man, they're still around.
MySpace or something, you know?
No, I know what you mean though. And it's getting
not
more
literally.
like that,
I'm just saying, when was the last time you really heard about Wikipedia, though?
Well, I'll tell you, when I used to search for before 2003 with the advent of AI and OpenAI, all the time, you search for whatever, Ronald Reagan, you're looking for the first link to come up would be the Wikipedia thing because you want to know when he's born or you want to know something about him.
Breakdown.
Yeah, and generally trusted, tries to be kind of center or at least they try to take the politics out of it sometimes. They do have some problems with some people being in there that are pretty, one way or the other in politics. They have a lot of arguments about that if you look at some of the back pages and the discussions. But Wikipedia says that their views have dropped 8% compared to last year, with the Wikimedia Foundation blaming AI tools like ChatGPT and Google's AI overviews for siphoning off users. So people now, you search something in Chrome, the first thing you get is a Gemini response. Generally, it's the top of the page. And if you search for when was Ronald Reagan born or whatever, it's going to answer that question right there. You don't go to Wikipedia anymore. You don't go to and dig deeper down in the web if the AI can do it. And one of the things that I think is kind of burning Wikipedia, even though they're it's a wiki, right? It's supposed to be based on users' content and everybody contributing this together. When they see that all these bots have trained off of their data, they're like, hey, you're stealing our stuff, So I think that kind of burns them. It's a little bit of a double burn.
But I got a question for them, though. If I go to Wikipedia and pull something up, or whether I have a bot that has the same information that tells it to me, how am I stealing from them? It's not like they have a fact on my birthday that they control or that they're somehow in charge of. It's just a fact.
I know, but
who gave them the authority to say it's their data?
Well, and they're not necessarily complaining about the data itself, but they're like, we spent all the money on the servers and curated this and did all this stuff together and put it together in a form, and you're just stealing that and using it to load your LLM.
And my response is, but whether you load Sam's mind directly or an LLM that I can pull from, what's the difference? I mean, it's available on the web for anybody to get, bot, human, whoever.
You can even download Wikipedia, right? It's a couple of, I don't know what the one, even the small one without images is, 10 gigs or something. It's huge.
It's massive, yeah. But so that's kind of my point is that I don't understand what they're really claiming. Is it that they want people to come to their website so they can make money? What's the reason? Why do they care?
Well, I mean, they want viewership. They do ask for money and donations on their website.
Yeah, they want
to
create a wiki page on me. They want to charge me to create one.
Do they really? And you know what? You won't even have
out and emailing me going, yeah, we can help you get a wiki page, and it's only this much money, and I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and you won't have very good control over it either because there'll be a bunch of contributors in there. I found the comment section actually interesting on this article. People are saying, no, that's not it at all. This is one reply by LJ, and he says it's because they've exposed themselves as being biased toward leftists and against conservatives. Not only that, they're not 100% accurate, which is why universities won't allow them as a citation. I don't think that's really why the university. I think universities are like, hey, in general, you shouldn't cite an encyclopedia. You should go for more of an original source. But that's a different thing. Another guy,
well, and that brings up the debate for the Wikipedia folks. So if you should go to another legitimate or original source, see, they're not original either. So what gives them the right to not be original? But yet,
right?
the LLMs they can't take because they're stealing. I mean, at some point they have no game. They have no point.
I know I see both sides of the issue. I really do. And
yeah, for sure.
I understand it. Yeah. Another commenter, Provelt, says, still on the fence about regarding how much AI, that's ChatGPT, Grok, etc., can be trusted, but definitely not on the fence regarding the untrustworthiness of Wikipedia. Another guy says, my comment
Well, and see, that is the point. Who do you trust more, Jay? Do you trust an LLM like a ChatGPT or whatever, or do you trust Wikipedia more?
Me personally, I would say they're about par for me. I would trust Wikipedia and ChatGPT about this. Actually, I would probably say at Wikipedia a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. I've seen GPT hallucinate so many times. I've seen the bias. I've seen a little left bias probably on Wikipedia. I mean, we all seen that, but I still probably trust the information maybe more on Wikipedia.
But
I don't know.
We got to think about the evolution of the product too. Chat GPT hasn't been out near as long as Wiki. When Wiki was in that same, I don't know what you call it, infancy state or whatever else, it wasn't as trustworthy as it is now either. At the end of the day, I would like to see these Chat GPT clients start to provide sources of where they're getting information in more detail. And if they get something from...
And they're doing better about that.
They are. And so if they get something from Wikipedia, I think Wikipedia should just be grateful they're being cited.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do with all the show notes and things we talk about on the radio and TV and whatever we do. I try to give people the reference of where I got it. And that way, if you want to go look it up or you believe I'm not, mentioning it correctly or you want to whatever, then you've got where I got it from. I try to do that all the time anyway. And so I think that's good practice no matter where you are, in college or Wikipedia. Hey, does Wikipedia tell you where they get all their sources? Sometimes.
Yes, they do. I'd say they're really good about it. Better than most.
They're better than most. And they
usually have an entire references section.
But they weren't like that before. Half their stuff was just vague, and they've been begging people to add facts and source documents and stuff to their system for a long time too, which I don't have a problem with. I'm just making a point that you can't complain because other people are more in their infancy in this discussion. At the end of the day, it's an information overload for all of us, right?
Yeah, and you remember in articles you'd see all the time the little brackets as somebody would make a statement or say a fact, and it would say citation needed.
Correct.
Yeah,
and that's my point. And so I think that the chatbots need to get better at it. More like Wikipedia, but Wikipedia's had longer to do it. But I guess my really interest in all this is I don't see why Wikipedia thinks they have the corner on information or something.
Well, and I still think Wikipedia is a great place to start research.
Sure.
I don't think it's the end all, but I do think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think that AI is going to demolish Wikipedia. It may be like, you joked about it being like MySpace, but that may actually happen.
I think it will happen. I don't think it's there yet, but I think
and that's kind of a shame
compared to the way it used to be. Though, Wikipedia used to come up for everything.
Yeah,
and now, I see it, but it's comparatively not even. And at the end of the day, I want accurate information, and I want information sourced, no matter where I get it from.
Right. And one thing I like also is competition. And I will also mention this. I think we should. Grok and X, Elon Musk has said he's going to come out very soon with a Wikipedia alternative or contender that will do their own thing. And I think that will be good both for Wikipedia won't like it, but I think it'll be good for that whole space.
Yeah, because they'll have to kind of sharpen their knife or whatever you want to call it. They'll have to do better. And competition always breeds, instead of complacency and apathy, it breeds activism. Hey, we got to be on top. We got to fight for our positions. And hopefully they'll do that rather than just complain is the point. All right, WhatsApp is in the news, Jay?
That's right. WhatsApp is going to curb the number of messages that people and businesses can send without a response. And personally, I think this is a brilliant idea on how to cut down a little bit on spam. If you're out sending a bunch of messages that aren't getting a response to a lot of people, it's kind of a dead to rights giveaway that you're spamming people. So they said this company is going to have some controls that are designed to be effective against people and businesses that blast out messages and spam to people. And I think this is a great start and a great idea.
I think it's a great start, a good idea. It's not only WhatsApp, though. Other message clients are looking at this too, right?
Yeah, I think that they are. And I think that a lot of people will look at this both in both texting, SMS. I mean, maybe carriers will look at this. You have Telegram, you'll have Signal, and all the other players, Facebook messaging, because they all have problems with people spamming like this. It's a constant issue, just like we see with email, and it's not really going away. But this is a clever idea, I think, to maybe curb that.
Well, it's kind of like how they're shadow banning people on some of these services too. This technology is great, and if it's used for the correct purposes, I think it's wonderful. If it's misused to control people or deny people information, then it's a bad thing. And hitting that sweet spot, Jay, is the key.
Yeah, and I think that's going to also drive people to make their messages more interactive, so that people do respond to them to kind of get around these filters. I think that companies in general, are going to be able to use this. Maybe they'll get a pass on it. I don't know. I do know that, for example, Telegram was one of the first that I saw, where in group messages you could rate limit how often people could post, because you'd have some people that are just posting every 10 seconds and constantly one after the other, and that was kind of a cool feature that allowed things to settle down a little bit. You could even say, you could say, hey, you can only post once every 30 seconds. You could say you can only post once a day, whatever. Those are kind of cool controls. But I think this is an overall global control that can maybe help with a little bit of that spammy messaging.
Anyway, I find it very interesting. And at the end of the day, the question becomes, isn't there ways to say, hey, if you're on a list, we could start putting markers in the messages that get sent out too, to where it's like, hey, if I have a legitimate verified list from somewhere that could be trusted, there's ways to allow lots of messages to go out that are legitimate, but block ones that are illegitimate, too, Jay. And I think some flags and parameters around that could be key too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we get less spam in our world. I can tell you that right now, whether that be, I don't care what kind of spam we're talking about, I would like to see less of people contacting me without my permission. Maybe the post office, the snail mail ought to get that too. Most of my snail mail box is full of spam. Just saying. All right, thanks for being alongside for the ride. You're watching and listening to TechWatch Radio. All right, back with you live. Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison, Tech Watch. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. I'm a little bit frustrated with the AI engines now. I've got two stories that parallel that are disconcerting to me, to say the least. Elon Musk company, XAI, introduced two sexually explicit chatbot companions named Abby and Valentine back in July. Yikes. XAI faces regulatory challenges. U.S. state attorneys general urging tech companies to protect minors from erotica, etc. These anime-style chatbots provide a game-like experience where you can unlock more sex the more you play and the more points you get, and da-da-da-da-da-da. We've mentioned that before, I think, on this show already. But the reason I bring it up again is to refresh your mind on it. And now Sam Altman says, quote, ChatGPT will soon allow erotica for adult users as well, according to TechCrunch, Jay. I'm just disappointed in them all. Technology can be used for good or bad, and to me, there's just no value in it. Nothing but trouble. It'll destroy marriages. It'll be harmful to children. There's just no value in this, Jay.
I am especially disappointed with the anime cartoonish kind of stuff. That really, I think, it gears toward the younger crowd in underage. I don't know. I think that's crossing a line a little bit there for sure. I mean, I understand everybody's freedom of speech and all of that, but I don't know. Like you said, I think that technology can be used for anything, and I think it's also inevitable. I mean, people are going to use it for that, sure, but gosh, I mean, don't gear that toward kids, and they better have some way to figure out how to police that properly. I don't know what that is, but
yeah. Well, here's my response. I get that people have their own choices and people can do what they want, and that stuff's going to, no doubt, come out no matter what. There's always going to be evil people that use technology for wicked purposes. I got that. I understand that. But here's my kind of take or view. That doesn't mean the big companies that are well known in an industry, okay, like a ChatGPT or a Grok or a, whatever. That doesn't mean they need to embrace and promote this kind of stuff. So
Right.
I'm saying shame on Altman, shame on Musk for these guys. They should be above that and say, you know what? We want our technology to be used appropriately. Yeah, if somebody else does that, they have their freedom of speech. They can create their own whatever. For the only reason they could be doing it, in my mind, is they believe there's money and addiction and attention to their services if they do that. I just say shame on them. I would like to be above that fray and just say, look, at our, AI company, we're only going to use it for good, wholesome, moral, appropriate purposes.
Right.
And that's if it were me, that's what I would do.
Exactly. And I mean, we've seen this before in Hollywood, for example, with an R-rated movie and things like that. What are the best-selling movies? They're family movies. They're G-rated. Disney, takes a landslide with a lot of movies because of that. And I think I think that actually OpenAI has been pretty good at this so far, of saying, hey, we're going to not really do that, or we're going to kind of filter this and not have it. And I think that it could be solid point for somebody to be like, hey, well, we're kind of the clean AI. You could trust us. And that may be a selling point for people in the future if it goes this way.
Yeah, we won't lead your kids to suicide. We won't, tempt your children with all kinds of weird perversions. We won't help your children learn how to make bombs. And we won't, we're not going to be political. We're not going to pick left, right, but we're simply going to say things that are harmful to society. We're taking off the table to be used on our systems. And,
right.
So, I might just call mine clean AI,
Yeah, exactly.
GAI, rated GAI. I don't know. All I'm telling you is it's disappointing in my opinion. And I get that people are going to do it. I understand all that. But does it really have to be the leaders in industries, people that have really been innovators and people that are really that influential? Do they have to use their, quote, clout in their systems to push and promote this? Then later, when there's more abuse of children and more divorces and everything else, to some degree, they loaded the gun. And to some degree, there should be, at least an understanding of accountability. Whether we can tie that to real accountability per the law might be a different discussion. But I'm just saying, to me, when you have all these disastrous things happening in society and AI ends up kind of driving that cause or driving that car, whatever you want to call it, putting gas in the tank for these agendas, to me, it's very dangerous. And I wish we could prevail. Problem is, if I want to avoid this stuff and not fund this stuff, where do I go, Jay?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that there's a single contender that's going to come out like this. And maybe they will. Again, it may be a point of differentiation that they'll see some following over. Let's hope so.
And that's why I take this opportunity to plead for that. And I also say it might be a ripe opportunity for someone to start a company, that being their focus. It's like Angel Studios. You mentioned Hollywood and everything. Yeah. Angel Studios tried to really promote, hey, we'll give you templates or filters that can cut out the swearing and cut out the sex scenes and cut out this and that. Then they got sued and all this kind of stuff happened, and then they had to change their formula of how they were doing it. But Angel Studios has fought the good fight for a long time, trying to stop bad content, promote good content. Now they're competing in the world of jettisoning Hollywood, saying, hey, let's pay it forward. Whenever I go to an Angel Studios movie, I pay for the movie. I watch it in a theater on purpose to support them. And then at the end, I usually scan the QR code and donate some. Now, I don't bring that up to tell you that I'm important. I bring that up to say that model is becoming successful. They've worked hard at solutions for a lot of these things, and they're to be commended. And I hope somebody like that jumps into the AI game, Jay. If I had the money, I would. But, how does someone like me start something to compete with these, Sam Altman and Elon Musk and these guys? It's not even really possible but somebody could get it together, either some very wealthy person or put together some. A lot of times there's philanthropy groups or I don't know, I want to say Shark Tank, but some kind of funding like that could kick these kind of things off. Anyway, it's a worthy cause is all I'm saying.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, Jay, your IP address can reveal information such as your location, your ISP, your online activities, and due to increasing internet regulations, for example, age-based discussions on adult websites in Arizona, censorship in some countries, etc., your online freedom can be restricted, they say. Changing your IP address with a VPN is the answer. They say that it hides your identity, helps bypass geographical censorship, protects against targeted attacks, and prevents data mining. They say VPNs encrypt your internet traffic, and then they make it appear as if you're accessing the internet from a different location. They also offer protection on public Wi-Fi, prevent ISP throttling, and enable streaming from different regions. Not all VPNs are the same. They vary in speed, features, pricing, privacy policies. There's a lot of them that have a no logs policy, and that's crucial for maintaining privacy. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is, especially on the heels of this other, where we're talking about ChatGPT and all this other stuff. Again, you can use a VPN for sinister purposes. Hey, I'm going to get online and use a VPN so no one knows that it's me, watching porn or whatever. Or it can be used for good reasons, Jay, to truly secure your traffic and prevent hackers and men in the middle and everybody else from causing problems with your data. Everything can be used for good or bad. We're back to the same discussion.
Right. That's true. A lot of people ask me, consumers will say, because there's a lot of advertising in VPN. You get NordVPN and all these people that advertise on TV, and they're like, hey, should I get a VPN? I'm doing whatever, stock trading or day trading or whatever. And I usually say, for the most part, no, you probably don't need one. I mean, unless you're doing file sharing like BitTorrent or something where you're trying to hide your thing, or let's say you're a journalist in China and you don't want people getting back or finding out where you're at home, because you're a dissident or something like that. I mean, there are valid reasons. They're not all just like for porn surfing or whatever. There are a lot of valid reasons for VPNs. One of them, a lot of times, let's say you got a work PC. It's very useful and secure and advised to have your work PC VPN into your work headquarters so that you're doing all your traffic there. You're on the local LAN, everything else. Tons of good reasons for it. With consumers, though, I don't know. I can say also with the airport thing or any kind of public Wi-Fi, hotels or anything else, it's really good to use a VPN there too. So if you do a lot of traveling, a VPN is probably smart. But I don't know. I think a lot of people are upselling VPNs to people that don't necessarily need them. It does slow your connection down a little bit because you're adding an extra step in there, but it's kind of like your mileage will vary. You got to figure out, do you need it or not? I mean, if you're just the average Joe and you're just, watching Netflix and you're checking your email and stuff like that, I don't know that you need a VPN. I guess it kind of depends on who your ISP is too, and whether they're logging all your traffic and reselling it, and you have to look that stuff up. But it's kind of a mixed bag. Although I've gone from in the recent past saying, no, nobody really needs a VPN unless you're one of these people, to now I'm kind of on the fence. And I think in the future, you might be like, hey, everybody needs a VPN because everybody's trying to log your traffic and be a man in the middle.
That's the way it's getting for sure. And a lot of the VPNs, my favorite VPN, I'll tell you what it is in a second. They have a headline on their website that says absolutely no logs ever.
Which is good. Your ISP should be doing that, but it's probably not.
Well, and that's the point, and that's the problem. And so to me, if you're traveling, especially, a VPN becomes much more necessary. If you always connect to your own hotspot, that's a big safety measure that you should be considering and taking. Connect to your phone as a hotspot with your computer or whatever, because then you're on the cell network's internet as opposed to some Wi-Fi out there that somebody else is compromised or whatever. But the more you travel and the more you use open Wi-Fis, or hotel Wi-Fis or airport Wi-Fis, the more a VPN is necessary. My favorite VPN is called Viper VPN, VYPR. VYPRVPN.com. ViperVPN.com. And the reason that I like it is it's not one of those ones that's so popular. On one hand, everybody wants a popular thing, but remember, popularity means the likelihood of it getting hacked is greater because it's so popular. Viper VPN is not super popular, but it's popular enough to have all kinds of servers in all kinds of different regions. And it's very good. So Viper VPN, it's inexpensive. It's my favorite VPN. It's a balance between enough features to be for the advanced user, but not so overwhelming that you can't use it. It always works for me very consistently. Viper VPN. I don't get a penny for promoting it. I'm just telling you, it's pretty cool. All right, hang tight. More in seconds. You're watching and listening to TechWatch Radio and TV, huh? They call this thing the Dakota Smart Camera, ladies and gentlemen. And it's produced by a company called Kohler. They have launched a new product, the Dakota Smart Camera. It's designed to analyze your poop. That's right. They call it Stool for Health Insights is what it is. I guess the camera retails for $599, so $600 gets you the poop cam, people.
Wow.
They say it's available for pre-orders that'll ship in October 2025, which I assume it means right now. They say it attaches to the side of your toilet, Jay. Then it uses an optical sensor to monitor the characteristics of your poop, your stools, such as shape, consistency, the presence of blood, based on what's called the Bristol stool chart.
This way you can stream live, right?
Not yet. They say the device is equipped with end-to-end technology and encryption for privacy, connects via Wi-Fi.
All right. Why do you need your poop cam connected to the internet?
Because
I don't trust it.
Hold on. It requires a subscription cost, $7 a month or $70 a year, my friend.
Oh, my gosh.
And now you can go to the poop portal.
This is for...
And you can check out data on your gut health, bro.
For all those who don't have enough subscriptions in their life, here's the poop cam.
Yeah. They say the Dakota, it'll analyze and present the data through what's called the Kohler Health app. So they want you to get an app. They want you to buy this camera. They want you to...
I was just thinking I didn't have enough apps and subscriptions in my life. I've been actually waiting for this to come out. You know?
Here's my response. No poop cam.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there may be people. I mean, what if you got diverticulitis or something? You got issues. You think maybe this can help? I don't know. I'm sure there's a market for it. It's just
my problem. If you're not very careful, though, you're going to find out that some hackers got into these cams and people are doing weird.
Yeah, it's probably a
whatever. I'm just saying again.
Whole segment on Reddit for that somewhere,
or it can go bad. And all I'm saying is, to me, if this is in a medical situation. Where it's medically controlled and people are really analyzing it, I'm not saying there's no value to it. I'm just saying to put that in the average toilet, pretty soon it's like, there's a camera in that bathroom. Oh yeah, it's just my poop cam. Don't mind that. It's like, now you're afraid to use any toilet anywhere, Jay.
I think I can hold it. It's fine.
I'm just saying, very, very strange, to say the least. Yeah. Almost as bad as Microsoft, Jay.
Well, Microsoft has issued a warning regarding a malfunction affecting USB keyboards and mice with the installation of their October upgrade. This is the latest KB for Windows 11 and Windows Server 2025. So, we just ran out of all of our Windows 10. Everybody's got to get on Windows Windows 11 for 2025. And right out of the gate, their first update is going to break everybody's USB keyboards and mice. So you can't, if your keyboard and your mouse doesn't work, Sam, how do you uninstall the update? They say users who install this update may encounter issues with their USB input devices not working in Windows recovery environment. And although they function normally within Windows itself, the problem affects current client and versions of Windows 11, the 24H2, Windows 11 version 25H2, and Windows Server 25. Microsoft's investigating the issue, plans to release a fix shortly. The company advises avoiding recovery mode if the update has been installed. So maybe I guess you can go into regular mode and uninstall it without going into recovery if you don't have to. I have also heard.
If everything's running perfectly, you can save yourself. If it's not running great, then you can't save yourself from yourself, even though you've not been saved, right?
That's right. I've heard, and I've seen this about this update. If you have a computer with legacy ports on it and you have a PS2 port, you can plug a PS2 keyboard or mouse into there, and then it even works in recovery because it's USB only is what it's affected here. So, be advised of that. That is kind of a workaround if you have to get into recovery mode.
Yeah,
and
people
if you have that
PS2 port, what's that, Jay? They don't even have those on these modern mini PCs, do they? They don't have PS2 ports on those.
No, but they do on a lot of desktops, like in full-size desktops, especially servers and things. You'll see, because a lot of server racks will use PS2 still. I don't know why, because it's not really hot swappable. You have to reboot when you disconnect the device and things. But they are still a valid legacy port. I put them in the same categories like serial ports, for example.
Yeah, they're too busy working on quantum computing to waste time with your connecting ports, Jay.
Yes, they are. There is actually quantum computing firms, including IonQ, Rigetti Computing, and D-Wave Quantum, are negotiating with the Commerce Department in exchange for equity and federal funding, according to the Wall Street Journal. These companies and other companies like quantum computing, ADA, and atom computing are considering similar proposals. They've mentioned that they did not respond to comment with a request for the Daily Caller News Foundation. Deputy Commerce Secretary Paul Dabber is leading these funding discussions, though agreements have not been finalized and could change. This follows a White House announcement in August that about 10% ownership in Intel, and a statement by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on August 26 about the possibility of taking stakes in defense firms. The U.S. shares of quantum computing companies rose Thursday in the market. So it's interesting, but
Are you comfortable with this, Jay?
am I comfortable with, okay, should the government and industry be getting ahead in quantum computing? Should we be leading that charge? Yes. Do I think that a lot of companies are just kind of looking for handouts to fund their research and to do, I mean, you see that all the time, though. So I don't know. It's a mixed blessing.
They've never given any of that to me, though, Jay.
No, they haven't. You got to start a quantum computing company, Sam, right? With your
why don't I start a rated GAI company?
I know. See, you do both probably.
They probably wouldn't fund that. They'd just fund the perverted ones, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Sad but true. All right. Anyway, any more on this quantum computing? It's interesting, though. It'll change the game when it really becomes viable for the average person.
If it becomes viable, I would say yes. I mean, they're always like, it's one of those things like flying cars. It's always right over the horizon. It's going to happen, but it hasn't yet. If it does, it has the potential to break everything. It break the internet, really, break out every secure connection, break Bitcoin, for example. If quantum computing can really happen, but it hasn't happened yet that we know of. And so
a lot of talk.
Yeah.
But right now, as far as I can tell, quantum computing is what, vaporware, Jay?
I kind of lean toward that, but I'm not saying it's total vaporware. I mean, it's like, it's like in quantum entanglement and stuff. There's a lot of progress in that, and it's a really cool field, and I think it's promising, and I think it is something we should work toward and on. You're not seeing, there's not going to be like solutions for the consumer next year that have to do with either one of those.
All right. When I was a kid, and you can't do this anymore because you get caught. When I was a kid, you could do prank phone calls, Jay.
Don't do that now.
And you shouldn't do that now. You get busted. But anyway, you used to call up like an appliance store, and you're like, or call up just the average person, says your refrigerator running, and then the lady on the other end would be like, yeah, it is. And then you're just like, okay, you better
go catch
chase it before it runs away.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Well, now refrigerators are in the news, and in August, Samsung released a new refrigerator model, and they call it the most spacious on the market. This thing measures 70 inches tall, 36 inches wide, and they say with 32 cubic feet of usable space.
You can sleep in that thing.
The thing is massive. They say this compares with the 1928 General Electric monitor top, they call it. They say that one was 64 inches tall, 22 inches wide, and only had 7 cubic feet of space, Jay. I guess they've learned how to maximize the space that are inside the fridge compared to the components needed to run it. And according to the Association of Home Appliances, or Home Appliance Manufacturers, I guess it's called, the average refrigerator capacity in 1980 was 19.6 cubic feet. So think about it. It went basically from 7 in 1928,
yep,
to 19.6 in 1980, increasing to 25.8 cubic feet by 2021. And now they got the biggest refrigerator on the market. They say that the typical width for refrigerators in the past has shifted from 30 to 33 inches to now 36 inches. So you got to have a bigger, if you have an old house, you can't even get some of these big fridges. It won't fit in your spot anymore.
Man.
Innovations, they say, have allowed for better design and space maximization. And they say these new refrigerators are much more efficient. And hey, it's costing a lot less.
Hey,
for a lot more fridge, and everybody wants even bigger fridges, Jay.
Yeah, one of the trends in new building is to have an entire pantry that's refrigerated. So
there you have it. dangerous, folks. It requires a lot of electricity. Thanks so much. NetworkProvidersInc.com. You've got a friend in the IT business. Hey, make it a great tech day, will you? Thanks.